PBIS logic, the big picture. Tier 1 or school-wide positive behavior intervention and support is what most people think of when they hear PBIS, but it's merely one piece of the puzzle. PBIS is a system of developing, implementing, and maintaining evidence-based strategies for all students. The goal of PBIS is to decrease problem behaviors, improve academic performance, increase safety, and establish a positive school culture. Tier 2 or targeted group interventions are identified for students who continue to struggle behaviorally even after school-wide systems are fully implemented. Tier 2 interventions are continually available, immediately accessible, require little teacher or staff effort, are aligned with Tier 1 rules and expectations, and are driven by regular monitoring and database decision rules. The most commonly used Tier 2 intervention is check in, check out, or the behavior intervention plan. Many schools are finding the value in supporting targeted group interventions. Targeted interventions are far easier to implement with fidelity than most individually designed behavior support plans. They use far less time and resources while providing sufficient support for many students. Tier 3 or individualized support is provided to students who continue to struggle behaviorally even after targeted interventions are fully implemented. Tier 3 supports are designed using functional behavioral assessment, which is a thorough analysis of factors contributing to misbehavior. All useful functional behavior assessments lead to the development and continued monitoring of a behavior support plan. Using office discipline referrals as an indicator of the tier of support students may need, you're likely to find that over 80% of your students receive 0 to 2 discipline referrals, indicating that Tier 1 supports are effectively meeting their needs. When school-wide PBIS systems are being implemented with fidelity, a minimum of 80% of students' population should be adequately supported at Tier 1. The remaining 20% of students who continue to struggle behaviorally, receiving 3 to 5 referrals, should receive additional supports, beginning with targeted group interventions. 15% of the total population of students should be adequately supported at Tier 2. The remaining 5% of students who continue to struggle behaviorally, receiving 6 or more referrals, will receive Tier 3 supports, consisting of a functional behavior assessment, resulting in a behavior support plan. When students are receiving the right level of support, you're likely to feel very satisfied with your work. Students are learning, and you can invest time and energy in instruction. If students needing Tier 2 supports are left unsupported, you're likely to feel really frustrated. These students need a stronger dose of what's already provided in Tier 1, more structure, more instruction and practice with expectations, more adult feedback, both positive and corrective, more opportunities for positive reinforcement contingent on their behavior. If students needing Tier 3 supports are left unsupported, you're likely to feel really angry, probably overwhelmed and out of control. Students needing this level of support usually don't respond to consequences as we would like. If you think of punishment as an outcome or as a response to misbehavior that reduces the likelihood of that misbehavior reoccurring, you're likely to see that the consequences at the school's disposal just aren't sufficient for this group of students. On this slide, red represents punishment that's actually punishing. When students needing Tier 1 supports are corrected for misbehavior, the experience is often very punishing. Consider the consequence of missing recess for talking out during independent work time. For a student responding to Tier 1 supports, this event will be life-altering. They'll likely cry and may even write you an apology without even being asked to. They may even go home to their family and tell them of their offense and vow to turn their life around. A student needing Tier 3 supports under the same circumstances is likely to respond in a very different manner. You may hear something like, "I don't get it. Why am I in trouble?" Or, "I wish I could stay in from recess every day." The student may even behave in a manner that communicates to you, "Hey, you took my recess, now you're going to pay for it." For students needing Tier 3 supports, attempts at punishment are rarely effective. These students often have several things going against them. They may not know what they're supposed to be doing, despite our best efforts. They may not know how to behave appropriately or how to get their needs met in a way that works within your classroom expectations. For some of these students, the problem behaviors that they exhibit may be so effective at getting their needs met that we're going to be hard-pressed to change their behavior without significantly changing our own. At Tier 1, we're teaching, acknowledging, and holding kids accountable to change their behavior to fall in line with the social norms of the school. At Tier 3, we've recognized that what's punishing and/or rewarding for most students is not working to improve the behavior of a student needing Tier 3 supports. If we want to see success for these students, we have to go about supporting them in a dramatically different manner. We have to change our own behavior, responding to the individual needs of the student in an attempt to change the variables that contribute to the student's challenging behavior. All tiers of support use the following framework for understanding behavior and providing appropriate intervention. Using the ABCs of behavior is a way of identifying patterns of behavior. A, antecedent, is the stimulus that's presented before a behavior occurs. B is the behavior. This is the response to the antecedent. C, or consequence, is simply the response that the behavior generates. It's important to remember that consequence is a neutral term in behavior speak. If the consequence reduces the likelihood of the behavior reoccurring, it's a punisher. If the consequence increases the likelihood of a behavior reoccurring, it's considered reinforcing. Antecedent interventions are designed to prevent problem behaviors from occurring. Typically, antecedent interventions may consist of creating a predictable environment, increasing the likelihood of success, or active supervision. Behavioral interventions are teaching interventions that consist of explicit behavioral instruction and opportunities to practice. Desired behaviors are taught, but it's also important to teach replacement behaviors. Replacement behaviors are a step in the right direction. To get the best result from these behaviors, they should be easy for the student to perform, more acceptable than the problem behaviors that they're designed to replace, and functional, receiving the same effect as the problem behavior. Consequence interventions are designed to intentionally reinforce desired behaviors, maintaining a 4-to-1 ratio of positive to corrective feedback. Frequency, immediacy, value, and contingency are the variables that will determine the effectiveness of a consequence intervention. PBIS is designed to support adults through systems. It's also designed to support decision making through data. And of course, our outcome that we're looking for is the support of students through the implementation of evidence-based practices. Thank you for watching, and see our website for more information.